in a complete world of my own. Good morning, everyone. How are we? Welcome to what we welcoming to Wednesday's live. It is Wednesday, the 10th of December. 2 weeks today. It is Christmas Eve. What the actual F is going on? It might seem a little bit dark. It is a little bit dark. I can't be bothered putting my lights on. It is it's just gone off 8 in the morning. I've got my blinds fully open. And I've got my ring light on, so there is a bit of light, but I just can't bother putting my main lights on, to be honest with you. So I'm sorry if it seems a bit dark and a bit moody this morning, but that's just the way it is. So yeah, it is Wednesday. Happy Hump Day, the 10th of December. We're nearly halfway through the working week, not quite halfway through the actual week. Was I on yesterday? I was on yesterday. So how is your weight loss week? How's it going? How's it going so far? You know, we do have to appreciate this time of year. It is a trickier time of year to lose weight. It is a little bit tougher than we want it to be, but you know, we should still be trying to hold on the best we can. We might not stick to our ideal calorie deficit. We might go over a little bit, but you know, we've just got to give it the best we can. Lee, good morning. Neil, Red Life from here is waiting to load. Good morning, Lee. So yeah, how's your week going? Mine's going pretty good, though I think I've bit myself in the bum because I've woke up starving. So I had a 1,600 calorie day on. I've actually recalculated, not the post that I did, the calories were right. I actually ended up in reality from that post swapping my yogurt to an M&S yogurt. And I just thought the calories would be the same. And when I've retracked it, there were about 30 calories more. So I actually did end up just over 60. It was only just over 1,600 on Monday. So anyway, I've tracked Monday. I was 1,634 on Monday, 2,056 yesterday. And so, you know, I've literally pretty much bang on 1,500 calories over 3 days. The knock-on effect of that is I woke up starving this morning. Yeah, and like physical hunger. I can feel that it's physical hunger. I ate my tea last night at about 7 o'clock. I didn't eat anything else after that. So I'm already like 13 and a half hours into a fast. Right, not that I'm fasting. I don't do fasting, right? But like that's just the length of time since I ate last night and this morning. So when I eat this morning, my break fast will be well, I don't know what it's going to be. Originally, it was meant to be some M&S stuff for worth the calories because I'm trying to do worth the calories this week. I've got seven. I've got seven items for work from M&S instead of I normally do 5. I've got 7, a bit of a bumper one, and I've got to fit them into my calories. And normally when I do work the calories, I just eat them in the afternoon and treat them as part of my afternoon snack because I'm trying to keep my calories on the down low. Certainly Monday to Thursday this week, I'm kind of incorporating them as dinners or breakfast. So I might be having a couple of items for breakfast after this live on worth the calories, which they're not going to be the most filling, but I've sort of looked at what I've got and I'm kind of going to go with stuff that's actually going to support me in the gym. So I'm going to go for a bit of protein and a bit of carbs and so on and so forth. So anyway, that is where I am this morning. But yeah, I'm hungry, but it's all good. I've tracked my food today, and with what I'm having this morning for worth the calories is going to be 314 calories, right? And then lunch today is 628 calories. Tea tonight is 694, and that puts me at 1,636. So I've got another 500 calorie swing today. So I'm probably going to end up smashing in a mid-afternoon sort of like whey whip bowl. I think that's going to be a bit of a tactic for me today. And then I'll probably have my tea a bit earlier. And then I've got a weight loss everything weight loss session at 7 till 8 tonight. That'll distract me for an hour. If I don't think I will be hungry later on. I'm gonna ramp up. I'm only at the moment for what's my diet. I've got 104 grams of protein in, so the 500 calories needs to be very protein based, which is all good. My protein has been a bit low today, but lower calories, lower protein, you know. Right, let's do top 5 on TikTok and let's see what is going on. Lou, good morning. Number 1. Callum's in at number 2. JJ, Mr. John Jackson's in at number 3. Bridget's in at number 4. And Lisa is in at number 5. Good morning, guys. You're on my top 5 this morning. Thank you very much for jumping straight on the live, coming and saying hello. Michelle's in as well. Good morning, Kelly C. Good morning, Paul. Good morning, Kelly. I only noticed it last night. I don't know when you sent it, but what I started doing on my WhatsApp is, well, on my phone, if I'm being honest with you, because my phone's always very, very busy and I need to start learning to step away from it, I put my do not disturb on so I don't get any notifications. And so I don't get any pings when WhatsApps come through. And I just noticed, Kelly, I don't know if you sent it like late, maybe Saturday night. So I've just seen you sent a check-in over. I need to do it this morning. All right. So bear with, or I'll do it today for you. All right. Bear with. I know you had some issues like over the weekend, which is why it's coming a bit late, but I'll sort it out today. Paula, good morning. Mama Bear, good morning. Lisa's in, and Sheila, morning. Lisa's in, good morning. Not perfect, but much more controlled than last week. Very good, and that's really good, Paula. 2 weeks before Christmas. Excellent. Essentially yesterday by walking around all the shops, staying out of the weather. Sounds good. We did it on, when was it? Might have been Sunday. The weather, it was Saturday or Sunday. The weather was absolutely shocking. And I said to Rach, let's just nip to Tesco. Like, we didn't really need it. We needed a couple of bits, but nothing that warranted a trip to Big Tesco. But I was like, a good walk around Big Tesco is 1,500 steps. So we did. So we went there just to top those steps. It might have been Sunday. I can't remember. No, I can't remember. Morning. How do I access the private YouTube teachings? WhatsApp announcements. Jill, are you in the WhatsApp group? If you're in the WhatsApp group, every Tuesday, I post what lives are going to be solely for the community that week. And in that post, all the links for the lives. And then whenever I put a live on, and I think I did it yesterday. So even if you're not in the WhatsApp chat groups, you can be in the WhatsApp announcement group. So if you're not in the WhatsApp announcement groups and you want to be in there, let me know. I'll put you in there. Right. And I put loads of links in there and stuff like that for you to just sort of click on. Yeah. But it's all in the WhatsApp announcement groups. Yeah. I barely bought anything, just browsing everywhere. IKEA was a big, if you walk around IKEA, you're going to get your steps in. Anna, morning, everyone. Morning, Anna. I've done it Saturday morning. It definitely didn't. I don't think it come through Saturday morning. I don't know why. I looked at it. I think it was like 9 o'clock Saturday night. It come through to you might have sent it Saturday morning. And then for whatever reason, it was like 9 o'clock Saturday night, I think. I might be wrong. Let me have a quick look. I might be totally wrong there, to be honest with you. I've just had a quick 4:30. It came 16:32. Kelly, it came through. So yeah, when I sign off for the weekend, I put my do not disturb on my phone. So I'm like, literally, like, I'm just here because anyone that we know that needs to get hold of me, including like my mum, just rings Rachel. If I don't answer, they'll just ring Rachel or they'll message Rachel. Oh, can you get Neil to phone me? So I don't know why it's come through at 4:30, but I've had no internet. That must be it, Kelly. So you must have sent it Saturday morning, and then by the time you've got in, it must have. Now with WhatsApp, you can send a message because I do it when I'm working, when I'm flying somewhere. Sometimes I'll do check-ins on the plane, so I'll make everything available offline. I'll do check-ins on the plane. I'll do your feedback on WhatsApp and send it. Obviously, it doesn't go because I'm in airplane mode. As soon as you go out of airplane mode, it then pings everything over. So that must be the reason. Anyway, that's why I've missed it, Kelly. So I'll sort it out. I love Do Not Disturb. Yeah, do you know what? I have it set now. It goes on every night at 9 p.m. And then I put it on at like 1 p.m. on a Saturday. And I do check like because my mates message me on WhatsApp and stuff. So I do check my WhatsApps, but unless it's like anything that might come in, like I might check it at 6 o'clock. And I'll have a quick scan through, but I don't know why I just missed Kelly's. Yeah, I do have a quick glance at it, but generally I've just to step away from my phone for a day. if that makes sense. And a sneaky jump on the scales. I see 11 at the beginning. All right, Michelle, let's see what comes in with your check-in. My missus 7,000 calories for Saturday, banking 200 a day. I'm on it. Brilliant stuff. And if your calories are right, anyone can bank 200 calories a day, right? Now, look, if you're trying to stick to 1,500 calories a day, do you know what? I've done that 1,600 calorie post, right? I've done that 1,600 calorie post yesterday, and not yesterday, on Monday. And the amount of comments about, I gain weight at 1,500 calories. No, you don't. Well, you might gain a bit of weight eating, And I think what it is people eat 1,000 calories a day. They then get told they're not eating enough. So they move up to 1,500 calories a day. The scales go up because they're taking in more food and water volume. And then they're like, oh my God, I'm gaining weight. And then they revert back. And it's like, no one gains fat. I said this to someone yesterday, right? I have worked with thousands of people. If I count people that I've worked with nearly 1,000 people on my one-to-one plan over the last few years, and people that have come and gone out of the community is probably 1,500 to 2,000. So that's nearly 3,000 people. If I then take into all the people I've worked with when I was a one-to-one personal trainer, I've worked with over 3,000 people that I've calculated calories for. I have never, ever, 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 ever calculated calories for anyone and their total calorie burn, not their BMR, not their metabolism. Some cocky guy come on Facebook yesterday. I said 1,600 calories is the minimum in my eyes that anyone should be eating daily. My girlfriend's BMR is 1,300 calories a day. Do the maths. So I went in on him. All right. Look, mate, I'm an ex-accountant. Maths is what I do. Let's get at it. So I messaged him. Commented. That's great. So your girlfriend's BMR is 1,300 calories. What's her TDEE? So what's the total daily energy expenditure? Smart boy. Right, come on, let's get in there. All right, you do the maths. Straight back at you. You do the maths. Then I got a comment. It varies from day to day. All I'm saying is, 1,600 calories won't work for everyone. So I'm messaging back saying, well, I've worked with thousands of people, and I've never, ever, ever calculated calories where someone's maintenance has been less than 1,600 calories. I haven't. I genuinely haven't. Right. And if someone's maintenance is 1,600, I think the lowest maintenance I've ever calculated is 1,700 calories, something like that, which is metabolism, NEAT, and EAT. So metabolism and then everyday activity and any physical activity people might do, right? I think it's about 1,700 a day, yeah? And if that is the case with my clients, right, I get them to move more, right? And that client was they literally told me they did 5,000 steps a day. And they weighed like 10.5 stone. And I'm like, yeah, your calorie burn's very, very low, right? They were quite young. They had no mobility issues. There was no reason why they were being so lazy, right? So, and I'm sorry, that might trigger people. If you've got mobility issues, disabilities, for whatever reason, they could just, your mobility issues might just be because you're overweight, right? It might just be holding you back a little bit. Then, we can do less steps. If you're 10.5 stone and you've got no mobility issues whatsoever, and you are averaging less than 5,000 steps a day, you are a lazy person. That is, and you can't, and I'm not being rude when I say that. You are very sedentary for your current weight, for your current, you are very sedentary. You are really sedentary. Because there's absolutely other than your own motivation and willpower and wanting to move more, there's absolutely no reason why you're doing. Let's think about 5,000 steps a day. If you're 10.5 stone, you're not carrying much weight, so you're walking at a pretty decent pace, right? So most people that are 10.5 stone can do 5,000 steps in 35 minutes, maybe 40 minutes at the absolute. Not even 40 minutes, probably about 35 minutes. Right? So that means for the entire day, you're doing 35 minutes of movement, which means you're doing 23 hours, 25 minutes of either standing still or sitting on your bottom. That's sedentary. Whether we look at it, however way we want to look at it, Lee, might be a silly question, but do you treat alcohol calories the same as normal calories? Ooh. As obviously the nutritional qualities are very different. Also, is there a very vague or quick and easy way of working out your maintenance calories? Does 1 pound of weight times 14 work? No. All right. So you'll see loads of people coming up on here's a quick way to work out your calories. Take your body weight times 14 times 12. It's absolute garbage. Right? It's an absolute garbage. Like, don't get me wrong. It might not be an absolute million miles away, but it won't be accurate. Right? Now, don't get me wrong. What you could then do is, if you normally it's 12 that I see people use. And I've trialed this, and I've trialed it against several clients, and yeah, it's just it's not the fact that on a daily basis it might not seem too bad. It might be like 250 calories out. You know, that's all right, isn't it? Over a week, that's 1,070. That's 1,750 calories out, which means if you eat to that, you're gonna lose half a pound of body fat, which isn't, you know, it's still progress. But if a lot of people are like, you know, I want to lose a pound and a half, it's going to get very, very frustrating. So no, there isn't a decent way of doing it. You know, now don't get me wrong. If you wanted to use a formula like that, what you would then do from that is you would eat that amount of calories for say 6 weeks. You'd weigh yourself, eat that amount of calories for 6 weeks, right, consistently. And whether you took to a daily amount or a weekly amount, it doesn't really matter. You just need to be, you know, let's say the number was 3,000. Then over 6 weeks, 6 times 7 is 42. 42 times 3 is 126. So you'd eat 126,000 calories over 6 weeks, and then you'd weigh yourself again and see what your weight's done, you know, as it maintained. You need to give it 6 weeks because to get rid of fluctuation. So if you were 200 pounds at the start, and towards the end you're at 202, we'd class that as maintenance because we've got to take into account a little bit of fluctuation here and there. If at the start you were 200 and at the end you were 206, you know, we can say, yeah, you've probably gained some body fat from that, so they're probably a little bit high. If at the start you were 200 pounds and in 6 weeks time you weigh 199, yeah, it's about right. Again, we've got to take into account daily fluctuations. If at the start you were 200 and after 6 weeks you were 194, it's probably a little bit low. And then you'd adjust again and go again for another 6 weeks. So, you know, I've looked at that, but no, really there isn't, you know, it's going to give you if you're going to do that and then just stick to those calories, you're shooting in the dark. Yeah. Right. Let's talk about alcohol. As obviously the nutritional qualities are very different. All right, so the nutritional qualities, the macronutrient breakdown of food. I always talk on eggshells about this a little bit because you give people an inch, they take a mile, and people will automatically try and push boundaries with diets. We see with Slimming World all the time, sin-free this, sin-free that, because they're trying to break the regime, right? Now, with food, yeah, we have, depending on what we eat, it consists of 3 macronutrients, either proteins, fats, carbs, or a mix of 2 or all 3 of those things, all right? And depending on the macronutrients, right, depends on the thermic effect of the food. So thermic effect is the energy required to digest that food, all right? The highest thermic effect is protein, right? Mid is carbs, low is fat. All right. So the thermic effect of protein is around about 20 to 25%. And what that basically means is when you eat a pure protein, about 20 to 25% of the calories that you consume is lost through digestion because the body has to work to digest the food. And this is why protein is a really important macronutrient for fat loss, not because we lose calories from eating it, because the higher the thermic effect, the harder the body has to work to break that food down. The harder the body has to work to break that food down, the longer that food is going to sit in your stomach, right? So the body breaks down fat very, very quickly. It breaks down protein very, very slowly. High protein diet, low fat diet, you're going to stay a lot fuller for longer. All right. Now, a lot of people talk about fat being satiating, it fills you up. It actually doesn't, right? In terms of it does not, fat does not slow down gastric emptying whatsoever, right? I'll talk to you in a minute about how fat can help to suppress appetite and why people talk about fat suppressing appetite. But the main way to suppress appetite is through eating foods with a high thermic effect. So protein's highest, carbs that are full of fiber are here, carbs that aren't full of fiber are here, and then fat is here, right? High protein diet keeps you fuller for longer, helps control your calories. High protein diet, the less calories we will actually absorb into our body. Now, why? Anyone can ask, someone just said, can I ask a question, please? Anyone can ask a question. Ask away. If I manage to answer it, I manage to answer it. If I don't, please don't think I'm being rude. It's just that I've not got to it. Now, when I always walk on eggshells when I talk about the thermic effect of food, is simply because, you know, a lot of people's thought process is, oh, if I eat 2,000 calories worth of protein, my body only absorbs 1,600 calories. Therefore, I've got an extra 400 calories to play with, right? Wrong. When we're trying to lose weight, we're not that accurate. We can be as accurate as we can be when tracking calories, but the data tells us that most people are around 10% out. And this is why I always get very concerned when people are so defensive. I track everything, I weigh everything, I'm absolutely on it left, right, and center. I'm like, well, you're at least 10% out, right? We also have to take into account that nutritional labels are allowed to be 20% out. They're generally not, but, you know, everything works on generic numbers a little bit. So when I calculate people's calories, I don't include the thermic effect of food, right? And the average thermic effect is about 10% if you have an average diet, right? Reasonable amount of protein, reasonable amount of carbs, reasonable amount of fat, right? So basically, around, you know, if you eat 2,000 calories throughout the day, the body takes in about 1,800. Does that give? No. Why I don't include the thermic effect when I calculate calories? That's the buffer for my clients making mistakes, right? Yeah, and we do make mistakes. I make mistakes. You know, for sometimes the mistakes are out of our control. Like, I don't scan bread, right? A loaf of bread is 800 grams, right? One loaf might come off the conveyor belt at 850. One might come off at 790. It's then sliced into pieces. And if you weigh bread, you know, Warburton say bread's 44 grams a slice. You might weigh one slice and it's 50 grams. You might weigh another slice and it's 46 grams. You're actually having 8 grams more bread, right? You don't need to be that pedantic to weigh your bread, right? And any coach that's telling you to do that, stop working with them. It's obsessive. There's no need, right? Because any coach would put a buffer in for their clients with calorie counting because they know the data that most people are at least 10% out. So if I work out someone's calories and their calories should be 2,500, including everything, I'll give them 2-3, right? You know, like, these are tricks of the trade I'm giving you here. And like I say, I worry about it sometimes because you give people an inch and they'll take a mile. Don't take a mile. The calories I give you are the calories that you stick to. And that's why you're successful on my plan, because I cover all eventualities. Anyway, why am I going into the thermic effect? Now, if you've got a diet that's 50% protein, 30% carbs that are full of fiber, and 20% fat, your thermic effect is probably 15%. It's probably up there, right? So it's probably a bit higher, right? Maybe, you know, if you've got a diet that's just pure refined carbohydrates and fat, your thermic effect is probably 5%, really, 6%, 7%, yeah? And you'll be a lot hungrier, so it'll be a lot harder to control your diet. What does alcohol fall under? It's a carbohydrate, is what we class it as, right? So what is it? Every single food, you tell me a food, I'll tell you what its main macronutrient is. Chicken breast, protein, bread, carbs, butter, fat. Dead easy ones, right? What does alcohol fall under? Alcohol would fall under a carbohydrate, right? Which is about 10%, right? So alcohol, just like anything, has a thermic effect. This is dangerous info I'm going to give you here, right? I've done a lot of studies on this, right? Because a lot of people are alcoholics, they drink all day, right? And generally, an alcoholic won't eat food, right? I eat a lot of food when I'm hungover. When you become an alcoholic, generally the alcohol just takes over and your appetite, you still eat, but you won't eat this, that, and the other. But there are some reports and studies out there that I've read that suggest, and the evidence is slightly inconclusive, so please don't take this as gospel, but because alcohol is a high, has a high thermic, alcohol sets on fire, thermic effect that is burn, right? And there are quite a few rumors out there that alcohol's thermic effect is around 50%. And there are rumors. There's been studies on it, but not concrete evidence. And until you get concrete evidence, you can't. So if the thermic effect of alcohol is 50%, that means that if you have 2,000 calories worth of alcohol, the body would absorb 1,000, right? Because you're going to lose 50% through the thermic effect of food. And it is thermic effect of food is calories, right? It doesn't matter whether it's alcohol or it's whatever contains calories, right? So do you treat alcohol calories the same as normal calories? 100%. A calorie is a calorie, right? And the calories are based on how it sits outside the body. And how it sits outside the body in its form is the calories you track it as. Otherwise, you're just going to cheat yourself, basically. So if I have, a pint of Madri's, 200 calories. I have 5 pints of Madri. It goes in my app as 1,000 calories. If my body does not absorb 1,000 calories, whatever calories it absorbs, bonus. It's just a bonus. So 100%. And, obviously we've got to take into account higher alcohol levels, lower alcohol levels. We've got to take into account this is alcohol. This isn't the calories. So Bailey's, for instance, that isn't alcohol calories. Let's see, a 50 ml of Bailey's is like 200 calories. Right? 100 ml of Bailey's is a serving and it's 400 calories. But you're not getting 400 calories from alcohol. If you drink vodka, any white spirit, a single vodka is 50 calories and it is pure alcohol calories, right? Pure alcohol calories. Bailey's isn't pure alcohol calories. The majority of calories from Bailey's is in the cream that's in there, sugar and fat, right? And that is so you're still absorbing a lot. Whereas if you're just sitting there drinking a neat bottle of vodka, I hope no one's doing that, but if you are, that is pure alcohol calories. And it's the same with a lot, like lager. Is that, if it's 4%, it's 200 calories. Is all that 200 calories from alcohol? No, because you'd be dead. Right? It absolutely kick you. Well, it's not. It's like having it. It's not. There's a lot of sugar in that, which is carbs. So you basically, it doesn't quite work like that, and that's why the studies are inconclusive, because it's hard to break down what's alcohol, what's sugar, because you've got to. Do you remember Holston pills? All the sugar turns to alcohol. So, a lot of part of the fermentation process is converting sugars into alcohol, and then it depends on the level. But I've just talked there about something that's, I find it quite interesting. You're probably bored to death, right? But at the end of the day, you track your. So if you're going out and you have a bottle of wine and a couple of G&Ts at the end of the night, write into new check, put it in as it is. Yeah, and just accept it. Yeah. Right, let me scan down. Mr. Stock, good morning. Who else is in? Anyone else jumped in while I've been wittering away? Jess in, evening, boss. Just waiting to go into my Pilates class. Very nice. So hopping on live tonight. Brilliant. Yes, I'll be there at 7 p.m. tonight, a little bit earlier. Rachel's out tonight, and I want to be done for when she gets back. I need to work on my tracking in 2026. It's the only thing that lets me down. It's just about consistency. It's about completing weekly diaries. That's the habit we should be building up. If you end up with the odd week where there's gaps, right, that's fine. If you're ending up week on week on week where it's just gap after gap after gap after gap, you're just doing yourself a real injustice. It's like looking at your bank account and you can only see your spending for Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. It's like, well, what happened? What? Yeah, and when you add all that up and then you look at your bank account at the end of it, it doesn't balance, and it's like, well, right. So I spent £200 this week, yet on Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, I spent 120. Where's the other 80 gone? Well, it's obviously that's what you've spent Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, but you don't know that because it's not, you can't see it. Yeah, but what did I spend it on? I don't know. It's just pointless. It's just, I'll be honest with you, if you're not going to complete your weekly, like tracking Monday, Wednesday, Saturday is beneficial because you're trying to build the habit up of doing it daily. But in terms of looking at data, it ends up being pretty useless unless it's a completed diary. And this is where you know, consistency is key. And, you know, I'm not saying if you do rein it in. Yeah, this is where I always struggle when I was like getting back from holiday halfway through a week. Because like, if I've not completed my diary, what's the point? Tracking on any day, I suppose, increases the accountability for that day. And if you didn't track for 7 days, you might go totally wayward. So at least tracking for 3 or 4 days range you in for those. So I get that. So maybe it isn't useless in terms of trying to add some control into your life, because yeah, someone that tracks 4 days a week is obviously going to do better than someone that doesn't track at all. So yeah, maybe I'm wrong in saying that it's pointless. It isn't. But if you're tracking 4 days out of 7 and you're not seeing consistent results, that's why you need to increase your accountability. Yeah, does that kind of make sense? Right, let's say I struggled eating. Not great for 2 days because of depression. Not bad on it today. How do I not have a so-called bad day? What do you mean? Do you mean like because of your mental health, your eating's like out of control for 2 days? You put that I struggled eating, not great for 2 days. So I'm reading that as like my mental health's not good, so I've emotionally eaten for a couple of days, which means my calories are high. You know, and then you put not bad on it today. How do I not have so-called bad days? Triggers. You need to find and work on your triggers. What, you know, you put there because of depression. What's causing your triggers? Like depression isn't something that comes and goes in a day or two, really. But but emotional triggers will come in a day or two. So what you need to do is if you've not eaten great Monday, Tuesday this week, what has been your triggers for not eating great? What has caused you to emotionally eat? Is it, you know, work, relationships? Is it drinking alcohol over the weekend? Is it lack of movement? Is it lack of structure in your life? What's caused it? You need to, you know, when we have these days where we just randomly overeat and we feel it's down to emotional eating, which generally it is, it's all, and it's not a quick fix. It's not like, how do I stop it? The first thing to do is understand, and this is the same for you know, it's understanding your triggers. Once you understand what triggers you to turn to food for emotional eating, you've then got to work on those triggers. You know, so if it is issues with a relationship, you've got to fix those issues. If it's issues with work, you've got to work at fixing those issues, right? And that might take a couple of weeks, might take a few months, might take a couple of years. You know, I still have some emotional triggers now around food. I'm very good at controlling them, but every now and then they do take over. But my emotional triggers around food probably happen every few months. And to be honest with you, I don't have an issue with that. If you're emotionally triggered several times a week that causes you to overeat, big issue, right? If you're emotionally triggered, you know, once every 2 months and it causes you a day of overeating, I think that's kind of a little bit natural. We're always going to have some like coping mechanisms in life that maybe aren't the healthiest, but if those unhealthy coping mechanisms are only triggered a few times a year, I personally don't see any major issues with it. I'll be honest with you, I still have those odd weeks where just have a really tough week at work, just a really tough week with life every now and then, and you just want to go and put the world to rights and sink a few pints in the pub. And yeah, are you masking a bit of the week with having a few drinks on a Friday night or a Saturday night. Yeah. If you're doing that every night, you get home from work and you're stressed to death every night and you're opening up a bottle, big issue. If you're going out and getting plastered all weekend to mask what happens Monday to Friday, big issue. If you do that once every couple of months and just go and sink a few pints and just put the world to rights with a couple of mates because you've had a bit of a crap week, this is just my personal opinion. I don't see a massive issue with that, because doing that once every couple of months isn't really going to have a long-term issue on your health, and it's not going to have a long-term issue on your weight loss journey. Same with a bit of emotional eating and stuff like that. So, it's how often the triggers happen. So at the end of the day, we've got to accept we can only get things so good. I do believe that you can't be perfect in life. You can't. We've always got to have our vices here and there, and I think in a way it's kind of, I'll post on social media a ready meal, something like that, and you get all these goody two-shoes coming on. That's poison. That's full of chemicals. That's this. That's that. And I'm like, well, what's your vice? Everyone's got one. No one lives this perfect life that they claim to lead. They don't, right? And it's about balance. My trigger's a week before I'm due. If that's a trigger, yeah, absolutely. So that's an emotional trigger. And the thing is, time of the month for most females is going to happen for a long period of time, from hitting puberty to, whatever, up to being 60, right? It's going to trigger. Some ladies go through the menopause earlier than others. Some, but there's no rhyme or general rule to it. And even once you've been through the menopause, even when it is time of the month, or when it should be time of the month, some emotional triggers can still happen around that. And it is an emotional trigger because it's a hormone imbalance. That's generally what an emotional trigger is. It's where, in terms of like stress eating, it's when cortisol levels peak, serotonin drops, the balance goes out of sync, and you need something to mask it. And there's a whole different types of hormone imbalances. But yeah, it is a trigger. Can you work on your time of the month? Yeah, it happens every 28 to 35 days for most females. Obviously some females are a bit more irregular than that, but for most females, it happens every 28 to 35 days. So can you learn your triggers? Yeah. Or can you put things into place to manage your triggers? So if you're like, yeah, every 28 days, it's time of the month. And for 2 days, like, I really struggle to control my calories. Right, well, have those as higher calorie days. Stop trying to over control your calories. Yeah, but it's a Wednesday, Thursday, Neil. Doesn't matter if it's a Wednesday, Thursday. The knock on of that is you might need to rein it in Saturday, Sunday, or you just decide once a month to have a smaller calorie deficit week, right? And that is handling that's working with your triggers. So, if you're eating, and alongside that, in terms of weight loss, use a weight loss method that's healthy and sustainable. If you're trying to over restrict yourself, eating 1,200 calories a day, time of the month hits and it triggers some sweet cravings, increases your hunger hormones for 2 or 3 days, and you eat 2,000 calories a day for 3 days, you're going to think like you're doing something really wrong. You're not. Like, I bet, it's like for 3 days I ate someone that's on 1,200 calories a day that's burning 2,200 calories a day, they're massively over restricting themselves, right? So when they eat 2,000 calories a day because it's time of the month for 3 days, I think they're doing something massively wrong when actually they're still in a 200 calorie deficit. So, and sometimes it can be that simple to sort an emotional trigger. It doesn't need to be that deep. It doesn't need to be, I need to have a talk with my partner. I need to talk with my parents. I need to talk with my best friend. I need to tackle my boss at work and sit down and put in a grievance. It doesn't need, I need to go and have some psych. It doesn't need to be like that. It just be a fact that, do you know what? 3 days every month, I can't control my calories as I need to on a weight loss journey. So let's make my calories work for me. When that trigger comes in, and I know I'm going to overeat for 3 days, let's just flip to maintenance calories for 3 days and then go back to my deficit calories on day 4, right? Or let's just have 3 days, or these 2 days, these are my higher calorie days. Yeah, normally I have higher calorie Saturday, Sunday, but for this week, it's going to be a lower calorie Saturday, Sunday. And then next week, when it's not time of the month, I'll just go back to my normal eating pattern, right? I've lost over 2 stone using MyFitnessPal and calorie counting, which I'm very happy with, having plenty of protein, but I am very, very hungry in the evening time. what's best to try and cut this out so I'm not picking up things. So, Leanne, congratulations on your weight loss. Loads of questions for you. Number one, this is Leanne on Facebook. Number one, how many calories is your calorie allowance healthy and sustainable? Number two, how are you structuring your calories? And number three, it's great that you're focusing on protein, but are you feeding that protein in throughout the day? So Leanne's lost 2 stone. She might come to me and go, yeah, I'm eating 1,200 calories. Well, no wonder you're hungry at night time, right? Or Leanne might come to me and go, no, I'm eating 1,800 calories a day, which is a nice, healthy, sustainable calorie allowance, but I'm having 300 calories for breakfast, 300 calories for lunch. And then I like to have a bigger tea. So I'm like, right, well, because you're not structuring your calories right throughout the day, you're eating really, really low throughout the day. And then you're starting to, your body will want to calorie chase at nighttime. Why is it harder to control calories at night? Why is it harder to? Because we're tired. It's harder to do anything when you're tired, right? Your body's tired. It's the end of the day. It's harder to control calories. It's harder to exercise. It's harder to go and do movement, right? It's harder to be motivated, right? When you wake up in the morning and you've just had 8 hours sleep and you've got plenty of energy, it's easier to say no, right? When you're absolutely knackered and you've been running around at work and you've had a stressful day and you've ironed the kids' uniforms and you've made the tea and you've done the washing up and, and you're sitting on the couch at 8:30 at night time and you're just like that and you're tired, if I could walk in your house and say, right, we're going to go for an half-hour walk, you wouldn't want to do that. Right, you're going to control, you wouldn't want to do that. And as we go throughout the day and as we get more tired and the body gets ready for sleep, right, our blood sugars tend to lower, right? Also, there's loads of different factors we can look at. But what I always look at with people that overeat at nighttime is basically the amount of calories they're consuming and how they structure those calories throughout the day, right? That's first port of call. We then can look at overall diet. So if you're eating a very high carb tea, that will cause your blood sugars to rise and it could cause your blood sugars to crash. Now, Leanne's saying she's prioritizing protein, so I don't really think that's going to be the case for her. But if you are eating a very high carb tea and it causes, if you eat any meal that's very high in carbohydrates that doesn't have much protein or much fiber, it's going to ramp up your blood sugars, which is it's a natural process by the body. You're not doing anything majorly wrong, but the higher something goes up, the faster it comes down. If you drop a tennis ball off the roof of a house, right, it would hit a certain speed when it hits the ground. If you drop that same tennis ball off a skyscraper, when it hits the ground, it's going to be a lot quicker and it's going to bounce a lot higher. And that's kind of how blood sugars work. The faster you raise them, the quicker they can drop. And if blood sugars drop too quickly, it just massively triggers hunger, which is, again, one of the reasons why it's good to prioritize protein and fiber, because a high protein and high fiber meal your blood sugars will go up, natural process by the body, but then your blood sugars will come down nice and steadily and it won't trigger hunger. So, if you're someone that's just getting in at night time and you just had a busy day and you're having 3 pieces of buttered toast for your tea, right, or 3 crumpets or a couple of crumpets and jam for your tea because you're knackered and you can't be arsed cooking, that's just going to massively trigger hunger in 45 minutes. So again, there's lots of different things to control appetite, whether it's in the morning or at night time. But at night, it's always going to be harder to control appetite at night time because you are tired. That is the main factor that makes it harder. Yeah. Right. Let me scan down, see if I'm missing anyone. Caroline's in. Good morning, Caroline. Katie's in as well. Good morning to you. How much water do you drink a day? Varies. I don't really, water-wise, actual clear water, I probably try and have a couple of litres. Fluids, I'll tend to drink about 4 litres of fluid a day. I normally have a couple of litres of clear water. I have 500 mils in an energy drink before I go to the gym. I'll tend to have a couple of cans of fizzy pop. So that's over 3 litres. And then I might actually, no, yeah, that's probably it. So probably just over 3 litres. That tends to be my routine. So a couple of litres of water, a couple of cans of fizzy pop, energy drink. I don't drink tea or coffee. I don't drink hot drinks. Nothing to do with weight loss, as I never have. Right, let me that's me all gaps with the odd day that I have tracked. So, and we just need to, even if, it's one of them, if we track Monday to Friday and it keeps us reined in and we don't track Saturday, Sunday, it's not great, but it's better, right? And that's all we need to work on. We just need to start getting these more consistent diaries, Getting longer in there now, an hour and 50 minutes. Need to get some structure to it now. Oh, is that in the gym? All I'd say, Peter, is don't do too much. An hour and 50 minutes in the gym is a long, long time to be in the gym. I'm 45 minutes, mate, in and out. Don't think the longer you do in a gym, the better it is. It honestly isn't. I used to do the same. I used to do half an hour cross trainer, an hour's worth of weights, and half an hour swim. I was in the gym for over 2 hours a day, and it's very time consuming. And in all honesty, your body will fatigue, and you can do in an hour and 50, you can do in an hour and a half what you can do in 45 minutes. I train 45 minutes at a time now. I've condensed it down and just massively increased the intensity. So how I train is I'll walk in the gym today. I'll jump on the cross trainer. I'll do 15 minutes flat out, right? I'll start the first 5 minutes. I'll go at a reasonable pace, warming up. Once I feel a bit warmer, right, and my blood starts flowing, my heart rate increases a bit. Blood starts, I'll look at my watch and my heart rate goes to like 110, just above walking, really. Then the last 10 minutes, I'll blast it, right? And then I'll come off and then I'll go and do my weights. And I do 30 seconds rest a set, right? That's the way I train. So I'll probably do 15 sets in the space of 30 minutes, maybe a little bit more, depending on where we're at. So I put a 30-second timer. So this is what my watch does for my entire weight session. It just stays on 30-second timer, right? As soon as I finish a set, I hit reset, right? And as soon as 30 seconds is done, I go and do my next set. And I get at least 15 in. So I tend to do 4 sets I'll tend to do 4 sets of 4 exercises or 3 sets of 5 exercises, depending on how busy the gym is. The gym's busy and there's a bit of a queue for equipment. Like if once I get a piece of equipment, I might sometimes, to be honest with you, I'll do 5 sets of 3 exercises, 30 seconds on, basically 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. Does that work? Which would be 5 minutes. No, sorry, I do more than that. If I do 30, 15, I'm doing 15 sets on it at 30 seconds. If I do a set a minute, a set every 30 seconds, 15. Yeah, that works. And that's what I do. And then my watch just does this. Oh, you can't see it because it's not thingy, but it just buzzes on my arm all the time even when I'm training. And then as soon as I've finished, I just go onto it, bang, and it reset. So intensity. And I'm not discouraging anyone from exercising, but too much of a good thing soon becomes a bad thing. And I love the enthusiasm and motivation people have when they start, when they might join the gym. I'll see it in January. But, I see people in January, and they start coming 6 days a week, walking on a treadmill for an hour. I love the enthusiasm. That gets pretty boring pretty damn quickly, right? And then next thing, they're in 4 days a week, then 2 days a week. Then I don't see them again until next January. So, it's one of them. Now, if you're going to the gym once a week or twice a week and you want to, I go 6 days a week. So don't get me wrong. I do 45 minutes, 6 days a week, which is 4 times on the cross trainer for 15 minutes, 5 weight sessions for half an hour, 2 spin classes for 45 minutes, right? And I just like training intensely. And it's better just for time management, in and out, get it done. So, like I say, Pete, I'm not discouraging you from exercising whatsoever, but like I say, sometimes too much of a good thing will soon become a bad thing. And I don't want you in February to go, I've not been to the gym for a month. And that's because subconsciously trying to do 2 hours every day, it's just a bit too much. Yeah. I go on the treadmill for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. Just do what you enjoy. Absolutely. There's not many people that enjoy walking on a treadmill. If you genuinely do, absolutely fine. I've worked with hundreds of people in gyms as a personal trainer, and yeah, it's a very rare breed of people that enjoy working on a treadmill. Some people enjoy. I get why people enjoy running on a treadmill. Running's a bit more intense and it's a bit more of a workout. Now, Rach likes walking on a treadmill, but she takes a Kindle with her. So she'll go in the gym and do 30 minutes of weights, right? Rach tends to go to the gym 3 times a week, right? 4 sometimes, depending on what we're doing at the weekend. And but what Rach does, she'll do 30 minutes of weights and then she'll go on the treadmill for 30 minutes, but she'll take a Kindle with her and she can just read and she'll just read. So she doesn't mind walking on a treadmill because she's reading a book while she's doing it. But a lot of people, you know, can find it very, very boring. If you enjoy it, do it. And that's the thing. If we enjoy what we're doing, we'll be consistent with it. Whether it's exercise, whether it's our diet, you know, it's why I'm a big promoter of eating food that you enjoy eating, right? Eating food that tastes good. Because so many people, like, if you're sat there now thinking you've got to eat, you know, grilled chicken and lettuce every single day, yeah, that's pretty boring. That's going to get pretty boring pretty damn quickly, and you're not going to adhere to your diet. Whereas, you know, I did that day eating of 1,600 calories. Yogurt and granola, standard sort of breakfast. Well, it might not light your actual life up, but it doesn't taste bad in any way. You know, and then for dinner, like a deconstructed Chinese chicken curry. For tea, a KFC fakeaway, and then a bag of crisps and a yogurt for evening snacks. It all tastes delicious, right? Oh, it did to me. It might not to you because you might not like chicken. Well, eat food that you enjoy eating. Just make it fit within your calories, and then try and prioritize your protein and fiber alongside it. You know, so it's just about finding what you enjoy doing. I've got mates that do go to the gym for a couple of hours at a time. They tend to be into their massive sort of strength training, so you need a lot longer rest periods in between it. But that's their priority and they enjoy it. I didn't. I used to flog my arse off in the gym for, like, say, an hour and a half, 2 hours at a time, thinking that's what I needed to do. And I didn't. And now I do 45 minutes in and out, and I absolutely love it. It just fits perfectly, you know. Dr. Moore yesterday said I had flare-up of osteoarthritis in knee. Not been diagnosed previous to this. So today having x-ray, any tips on managing this moving forward? I'm absolutely riddled with arthritis in both knees. Yeah, so basically, if you have arthritis, everyone at some point in time is going to get a bit of arthritis in the knees. It's a joint that's constantly used all the time and it gets a lot of wear and tear. To manage it, you want to work on strengthening your quads. So you want quad exercises, yeah? Because your quads take a hell of a lot of pressure. The stronger your quads are, so the 4 muscles above your knee that join your hip to your knee, basically, that run in line with your femur, right at the front of the leg, strengthen those. The stronger your quads are, the more the pressure it takes off your knees, right? Work on some mobility exercises. You know, osteoarthritis is basically inflammation within the joints, right? And it's very debilitating and it's sore. And you know, once you've developed it, it's very, very, you can't get rid of it. It's just about managing it. Yeah. Any movement that you do, try and keep to low impact, right? So, you know, no running, right? Walking. Yeah, you know, walking at a pace that doesn't put too much pressure through your knees. If you can't walk for long periods of time, break it up into segments, right? You can obviously manage pain relief, a little bit of ibuprofen, a little bit of paracetamol. Obviously, consult your GP, your senior GP, ask them about pain relief for it, which can help with it. And that's about it. You can wear knee supports, right? I've actually got special insoles that have been delivered to me this week because I'm very knock-kneed, and that's kind of down to my arthritis in a way, but that makes me very supinated when I walk. I've got these new insoles, which is absolutely killing. I'm very strong on the outside of my knees, very weak on the inside. These new insoles are helping my supination, putting a lot of pressure through the inside of my knee. And because it's so weak, it is killing me. But over time, my body will adapt and it'll strengthen the inside of my knee and will help my issues. So there's lots of bits and pieces we can do. but it is just more about management and just controlling it as best we can rather than things that will fix it, you know. Strengthen your legs, certainly the quads. Don't do any movement or exercise that puts impact strain through the knee. Diet is a big thing, can help with inflammation. So there's a lot of nonsense out there about what causes inflammation in the body. Just aim for an overall healthy diet, you know. Obviously, weight management's massive. You know, I've lost 3 stone this year. It's made a tremendous difference to my knees. A tremendous difference, right? So the lighter we are, the less pressure going through the joint, especially weight-bearing joints like the knees. So there's lots of things you can do. Lots of things you can do to improve the situation. There really, really is. Right, you lovely people. Maddie, hey. Hello, hello, hello. I am off very, very shortly. I've not mentioned this much, and I'm going to mention it because I mentioned it yesterday and 2 people signed up. I am taking on clients for January, right? Normally, I push this like mad in December, and this, I think it's because I'm pretty busy anyway. I've got a good client base already, but I'm taking on clients signing up now to start on the 5th of January. If you want to start working with me as your one-to-one weight loss coach, at the start, you know, yeah, let's get Christmas out of the way, and I want to hit the ground running, you need to sign up this side of Christmas. I'm back at work on the 5th of January. When I'm back at work on the 5th of January, my next start date will probably be the 12th, unless, depending on how many signups. As soon as I get 5 signups for Monday, I then move to the next start date. So if I can sign up 5 people for the 5th of Jan, 12th will still be open. If I sign 10 people up, for the 5 people up for the 5th of Jan, I'll open up the 12th. If I sign another 5 people up before Christmas, that'll be shut. The 12th will be shut. So the next start date when I come back on the 5th will be the 19th of January. If you don't want to wait 2 weeks working with me, if you sign up now, I will write your plan up next week and send it over to you before I finish for Christmas. You don't need to open it. You don't need to look at it. It's Christmas. It's fine. But it'll be sat there in your email, ready to go on the 5th of January. You'll also get instant access to my community. So you can come in and get involved in some of the groups and stuff like that and see what's going on. And at the moment, it is half price, right? So you want to start on the 5th of Jan. You sign up now, it's 50% off, 15 quid to sign up to my one. So that's all you need to pay as well, right? Your next payment will go out the 5th of January, the day you start on plan. So chuck 15 quid in. I'll write your plan up. I'll get it sent over. You get instant access to my community. Plus, an extra little deal that I'm doing at the moment is if you hit all your check-ins, right? Not target, check-in. So you just check in 6 times. So my minimum term for coming on my plan is 3 months, right? And in 3 months, you'll get 6 check-ins. If you hit all 6 check-ins, Jan, Feb, March, right? Your next month will be free, right? So you won't pay in April. Basically, you'll pay a direct debit in January, a direct debit in February, a direct debit in March, and you check in 6 times in a row. Yeah. In April, you'll get free weight loss coaching, right? Once you've done 3 months, it's a rolling contract. So you can work for me for 4 months, pay for 3, and then that's it. That can be the end of your term if you don't want to carry on with me May onwards. If you do want to carry on with me, it's just a rolling contract. And if you want to work with me May, June, July, you can do. All right. January is a pivotal time for weight loss. It's the golden hour for weight loss. Hitting the ground, it's when life's quiet, New Year's resolutions are made, motivation is high. So don't waste the first few weeks. Get signed up now, get your plan in your email, get in the community, 5th of January, bang, you're ready to go straight from the off. TikTok profile, Facebook page, YouTube page. Click on my link tree. There's a shop in my link tree. One-to-one plan. Use code New Year New Me. 15 quid. That's all it's going to cost you now. And then my monthly subscription is $29.99. You'll pay one on the 5th of Jan, 5th of Feb, 5th of March. That's your minimum term. And if you do all 6 check-ins, your April will be free of charge. Right? Won't cost you a penny. So literally, it'll cost you 105 quid for 4 months of one-to-one weight loss coaching, split up over. Why wouldn't you do that? Right? And we've got an amazing community, and we're just going from strength to strength with the weight loss coaching. I've had this year I've had 10 people hit £100 weight loss. 10 people, not in the year. I mean, they might have worked with me for 18 months. They might have worked with me for 2 years. They might have done it. I've actually had, I think, 4 or 5 clients that have done £100 this year. Obviously, they've got quite a bit of weight to lose, but we're just going from strength to strength with the training. So if you're struggling with your weight, stop struggling. There's so many people here asking questions. Oh, I'm hungry at night time. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. You know, I'm struggling with triggers with eating. That's what I'm here for. I'm a coach. Come work with a coach for not a lot of money and we'll tackle it together. So come get signed up. TikTok profile, Facebook page, YouTube page, anywhere where you find my link tree, click on that. First tab on my link tree is an inquiry form. You can send over an inquiry form. Hi, Neil. Send it on TikTok, send it on Facebook, send it on YouTube, whatever you want to say. Can I get some details of your plans? I'll ping them over to you. Or if you just click on the shop, click on the website, all the details are in there anyway. Use code New Year, New Me at checkout. Cost you 15 quid to sign up. Go get signed up. That's me. I'm done. I'll be back tomorrow morning. 8:30 tomorrow morning. Back. TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. Guys, if you are on Planning in the community, if you sign up to my plan, right, today, we've got a Zoom session tonight, 7 p.m. You don't need to come on. You don't need to chat. I know people panic. Zoom. Okay. No, you don't need to be on the camera. You don't need to do audio. We've got a chat feature just like on any normal chat, but it is a private one just for my community. 7 p.m. tonight. If you want to come and take part in that, you can ask me any direct questions. You can come on and talk to me directly. If you're happy to come on camera, you can come and say, "Hi, Neil, I'm signed up today. I've got these issues." We'll work through them. All right. We'll do the best we can. So come get signed up. Guys, if you're on Planning the Community, I will see you at 7 p.m. this evening if you are free. If you just follow me on socials, I'll be back tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. Have a great Wednesday. TikTok, I'll sign up to you first. And Facebook, YouTubers, I'll sign up to you second. If I don't see you later, hopefully I'll see you tomorrow, 8:30 in the morning.